President Joe Biden done for Black Americans over the past 2 years? It's hardly a stretch to say that Joe Biden might not be the president right now if it weren't for Black Americans. Halfway through his first term, it's important to assess how well Biden has served the neighborhood that helped elect him. We asked several experts to weigh in on the Biden White House because I'm sure you're all sick of hearing me ramble on, and they were forthright in their assessments. David Dixon, a political science professor at Howard University, claims that the black, and female people are the heart of the Biden administration. According to Dixon, women and African Americans made up the majority of his supporters. The Biden-Harris administration is refocusing its emphasis on its black constituency. 25 black judges were proposed by Biden for the federal court. Dixon provides some convincing examples to support his claims. At least 25 black judges were appointed to federal courts during Biden's first 2 years in office, and Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson became the first black woman to be confirmed to the Supreme Court. I want to talk about empowering black women. Dixon also cited Biden's selection of Kamala Harris as his vice president. Dixon recalls, "That was crucial. The first African American vice president in our history," he claims, was chosen when Kamala Harris was chosen as his running mate. Although Biden's policy agenda has generally been constrained, we'll get to that in a moment, Dixon argues that we shouldn't undervalue the influence of Biden's efforts on voting rights at the executive level. Biden signed a broad executive order in March 2021 urging federal organizations to widen voting eligibility. How has Biden handled student loan debt? According to Dixon, Biden was keeping his pledge to black people, who are disproportionately affected by school debt, by deciding to forgive thousands of dollars in debt. The program is presently suspended due to legal challenges brought by Republicans. It is still in a legal limbo, according to Dixon. But after that's addressed, if it goes through, it will be a tremendous thing because those who receive Pell Grants will earn a sizable amount extra, and many African American and Latino students do have Pell Grants. Not the only topic on which Biden's policy ambition has been thwarted is student debt. Since President Biden hasn't been able to get most of his ideas through Congress, Stephen Taylor, a professor of government at American University, believes it's practically hard to assess what kind of President Biden has been for black Americans. Taylor asserts that the Congress is unwilling to vote on any legislation that might better the status of black people. Fundamentally, according to Taylor, Biden is a cautious president who will have a difficult time winning any victories for black Americans. According to Taylor, "I don't think there's anything he could have done that would have gotten done given the composition of Congress and the Supreme Court. He is acting with the caution of a senator who served for more than 36 years. According to Taylor, Biden has been reluctant to back the left-leaning legislative initiatives that the Squad, a group of progressive Democrats in the House, favors, many of which are aimed at minorities. Because he knows that cooperating with the Senate will impede him, Taylor adds, he's not necessarily working with them to accomplish their aims." Under Vice President Biden, have black Americans prospered? Examining how black Americans have performed in reality under Biden's leadership is another method to evaluate his presidency. Positively, the number of black Americans dying from COVID has decreased. However, not everything has been peaches and rainbows. For black Americans, soaring inflation rates have had disastrous effects. About 55% of black Americans reported having financial issues to NPR in August. Even while presidents frequently have little control over factors like inflation, Biden's popularity with black Americans suffered at the start of the summer as costs for common household items shot up. However, he did gain a lot of it back near the midterm elections. Dixon asserts that when Biden enters the second half of his first term, he will need to find alternatives to just hiking interest rates in order to combat inflation. According to Dixon, we need a far more comprehensive approach to fight inflation and hopefully counteract a recession that many people believe is imminent. African Americans are being disproportionately affected by inflation, and the recession will have even more severe effects. Dixon argues it's still too early to determine whether or not Biden's administration has been transformative for Black Americans. Dixon responds, "That's a tough question. It can take a few seconds to develop a negative photo occasionally. Therefore, what you observe at first, when you form the negative, is distinct from what comes next." That's all we can convey about the information this time, and it's an honor if you subscribe, like, and comment on this channel so that we can add to our existence to look for the latest news next. Thank you for following, and I hope it's useful.